Story time. So I recently ran into a MAGA hat here in Mexico, and here's the story, part 1. Just to give you a little context, this took place on November 3rd. Here in Mexico, it was actually the presidential election date, so it was 2 full months before the assault on the Capitol. We're having breakfast at the hotel, and I noticed the gentleman next to me is wearing a red hat, and I'm immediately very upset, so I proceed to ask him. I said, "Sir, I just want to know why do you feel the need to be wearing a MAGA hat here in Mexico?" And he answered that it was his freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. Yeah, okay, technically correct. And also completely missing the point. Freedom of speech means the government can't lock you up for what you say. It does not mean strangers at a hotel buffet have to smile and pretend they don't see you. Wearing that hat in Mexico isn't brave. It's not a statement. It's just weirdly aggressive, like showing up to a funeral in a "I hated that guy" t-shirt and then going, "What? It's my right. You're right. And everyone still thinks you're a clown."
I said, "Yes, that is your freedom, but in your country, in our country, you don't have that freedom. And it's actually very offensive to everyone that you're wearing that hat, starting with myself." We get into a little bit of an argument. I'm very upset, so I have to move tables, and then I proceed to apologize to the restaurant manager for the scene, not so much because I regretted confronting him. And go to the next story for part 2.
So occasionally I like to visit people's profiles that follow me or favorite my videos, and I've come across a handful that voted for Trump. Let me be clear. You're not welcome here.
Here's what's wild to me. He built a space, his space, for people trying to navigate life abroad because of the political situation back home. And MAGA followers found it and followed it. And that then got upset when he said, "This isn't for you. That's not censorship. That's not discrimination. That's a guy setting a boundary in his own corner of the internet. You don't walk into a support group for people your decisions hurt and demand a warm welcome. That's not how any of this works. And deep down, you already know that."
You voted for Schindler. You get to live in the mess he made. I made this page for people that you voted against to find a safe place to call home. Not for you to figure out how to work abroad or have an extended vacation. No, we want to escape. Furthermore, other countries do not want Trump supporters. You're not welcome there. The rest of the world watches in disbelief as his cult cheers on his extremism, and they want no part of it. It's actually really embarrassing how much the other countries mock us because of him. You think the world, billions of people, are wrong, and you and your cult of 70,000 other followers are enlightened? Bitch, please. So once again, do not follow me if you voted for Trump. You're not welcome here, or anywhere else in the world.
Well, many, if not most of us here in the States are feeling at least a little bit of pride that the new pope is an American. MAGA world is not. Instead, they are furious that this pope stands for Catholic values like peace, kindness, and helping the disadvantaged. Conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer called the pope another Marxist puppet in the Vatican.
She called the Pope a Marxist puppet, the man who gave up a comfortable life, lives simply, washes prisoners' feet, and preaches mercy, is the Marxist. This is what happens when the political identity completely eats the actual belief system. She presumably grew up Catholic. She presumably read the same Bible. And somehow the guy living those values is now the enemy. It's not even funny anymore. It's just sad. Genuinely sad. You lost the religion and didn't even notice it leaving.
Matthews, an Irish Catholic who went to Holy Cross, a Jesuit college. I miss you, buddy. It's good to have you back.
Thank you very much. This is what it takes, Katie.
I know. It took an American pope. And look what brought us back together.
It's an amazing story. I was wafted. For these people to jump on this new pope, I am thrilled about an American pope. I can speak to the pope in my language, in his language, without a translator, an interpreter. We're together. In a chance that he comes to America, and he will come to America, with his Chicago accent and his background as a graduate of Villanova in Philadelphia, he is going to be one of ours. And I think it's fabulous.
Yeah, and
I just do. And I don't understand any other emotion by an American Catholic about this new pope, except he's one of us.
Europe is going there. It's standing up against Donald Trump. In an unprecedented recent show of force, Europe's 3 largest economies, Germany, the UK and France, have issued a joint statement, along with the Netherlands and most of the Nordics, standing up for Greenland's right to remain part of Denmark. The statement reads, "Tariff threats undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral."
Germany. UK, France, Netherlands, the Nordics, all of them together in one statement. That's not criticism. That's a coordinated alarm. When that many allied democracies move in unison like that, historically, that means something serious is happening. And the MAGA response is always, who cares what Europe thinks? Okay, cool. But these are the same people who lose it when France says anything mildly critical. You can't claim global respect and dismiss every country that disagrees. Pick one.
Donald Trump has, of course, threatened new taxes on goods coming from those countries into America if those countries continue to oppose his plan to take over Greenland. They add that they stand in full solidarity with the Kingdom of Greenland and the people of Greenland. We stand ready to engage in a dialogue based on the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity that we stand firmly behind, they say. Also punchy, they added that the recent Danish military exercises in Greenland were a reflection of this position and that they pose no threat to anyone.
Watching the MAGA reaction to Trump's war on Iran has made it so glaringly obvious that they never had a core ideology. It's all about this cult-like following of Donald Trump. What he says goes. If he contradicts himself and what he campaigned on, it doesn't matter because he is the unfailing leader.
No core ideology. That's the phrase. And he's right. Anti-war when it was politically useful. Pro-war now that it isn't. Small government until the bailouts hit. America first until the bombs start dropping overseas, and when you point this out, he doesn't argue back, doesn't defend the position, just looks through you. Like the contradiction literally does not compute. That's not a political movement anymore. Political movements have platforms. They have principles. They debate. They evolve. What this is something else entirely. And everyone outside of it can see it clearly, except the guy standing inside it.
If Joe Biden gave a speech asking MAGA supporters to make peace with the idea that American soldiers would lose their lives in a war for Israel's benefit, people would lose their minds. He literally ran as the pro-peace candidate and criticized everyone else for spending any money abroad, but now he's all about regime change? The MAGA movement was allegedly all about keeping American taxpayer dollars in the United States, and yet suddenly all of these Trump supporters are on board with the fact that no, we are going to spend our taxpayer dollars bombing Iran. The craziest part to me is that when they're confronted with their hypocrisy, they pretend like nothing is there, like they can't see it. Trump himself has made contradictory statements about ever getting involved in Iran, and yet here he is, and he can't even seem to square it.
I'm back to share another very humbling story of being an American in the UK. I want to preface this by saying this is not my first time here. I've been here like 7 to 8 times for like months at a time, visiting my now fiance. Every time I just experience something new and I think it'd be funny to share them here. So anyway, I was at a store and it got to the point where I was checking out and she was asking me for my email address, and usually you just say it to them. But this time, this girl hands over the keyboard and she's like, can you type it in for me? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I start typing in my email and I get to the point where I have to put the @ sign. And I can't find the @ sign. I'm over there trying to press the 2. It's not on the 2. I'm looking on the numbers. It's not on the numbers. No one told me that different countries have different keyboard layouts. After a few seconds of looking clearly confused, I was like, do you know where the @ sign is?
Okay, this is genuinely funny, and she knows it, which is why I love it. One country over. Same language. And the keyboard broke her. Look, she's laughing at herself here, and that's great. But it is a tiny perfect metaphor for the America's perfect, everyone else is weird energy. Different isn't wrong. It's just different. The @ sign is still there. You just have to be willing to look for it instead of assuming it's exactly where you expect.
It was just a very awkward, embarrassing situation. Obviously the lady didn't care, but it's just something that you never thought you would have to ask for, like where a key is on the keyboards. Follow along for more humbling moments of an American in the UK.
You know what I realized about being an American and moved to Europe? Part 2. So why does the rest of the world use a 24-hour clock, but America uses the 12-hour clock? And then on top of that, they want to call the normal 24-hour clock, which everyone else uses, military time. The way that they tell time out here should be the only way that anyone does it. We shouldn't call it a different name. They're not the weird ones here, bro. We're the weird ones calling it military time. It makes no sense. And military time, or the 24-hour clock, makes so much more sense than the way we do it back there in America. Like, you got to think about AM and PM and all that kind of stuff. Out here, when a new day starts, it's 0. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. America's always trying to be so different. Like, it really makes no sense.
PSA, coffee creamer does not exist in Europe, at least most European countries. I live in France. I was at a coffee shop the other day. I heard an American man order, "I'd like my coffee with cream and sugar." And I'm like, sir, you gotta pick a milk, okay? It's not a big deal. But so he was ordering in English in Paris. But you know what? If you don't have French, I guess you got to do what you got to do. But you need to know when you come to France and many, if not most, European countries, that there is no such thing as coffee creamer. We use milk. We don't even use cream. Like, heavy cream is not used in coffee here. In general, maybe there's a European country, tell me in the comments, but you have to pick a milk. So most hipster coffee places in Paris will have regular soy, sometimes almond, and often oat milk. There's no such thing as creamer here. I've never seen it. If you want to prove me wrong, please do, because I would love to be wrong. But if you're coming to visit most European countries, you just need to know that. It's not a big deal, but you may very well confuse the person that is taking your coffee order. So just go ahead and pick a milk for them.
Hey everybody, so I wanted to do a little story time with you guys today. Normally I would never jump on here and like do a story time, but the most insane thing happened to me today where I actually have to do this. And immediately after this happened, I called my older sister and my husband and I'm like, you guys are never gonna believe what just happened to me today. And they were like, what? And I told them and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I'm like, I know, literally insane. And my sister's like, you need to post and like tell everyone about that because that's crazy. So I went to my eyelash appointment today. I've been seeing her for quite a few years. She does eyelash extensions, lash lifts, all the things. Anyways, so I get in there and I'm like, hi, how are you today? And she just looked at me and I was like, weird, like she's never ever like been like this. So I was like, she must be having a bad day. That's just immediately what I thought. And then she's like, do you even know what's going on in today's world? And I was like, oh, like, are you talking about like the ice here? And she's like, yes, and went on this like big tangent about they're destroying our streets, like all of these things. I was just listening to her. I was like, okay. And she's like, my husband's Colombian, like this is just disgusting. And so I was listening to her and then she's like, I have 2 questions for you. And I was like, okay. She's like, do you support Donald Trump and do you support ICE? So I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna lie to her. So I was like, yes, I did vote for President Donald Trump. And secondly, I do back our federal law enforcement. Like, I can't imagine having that job. And she's like, there's the door. Get the F out of here.
She answered honestly. I'll give her that. But here's the thing she completely glossed over. She walked into the salon of a woman whose husband is an immigrant, openly declared support for the policies targeting that husband, and expected the appointment to just proceed normally. What exactly was the plan there? Did she think it wasn't going to be awkward? Did she think the woman was just going to smile through it? How sad this is what our world is coming to. No, babe. This is cause and effect. Simple, direct cause and effect. The world didn't happen to you. You participated in building it.
And I looked at her and I was like, so you're not going to do my eyelashes because I support Donald Trump and I support our federal law enforcement? She's like, yes, get the F out of here. And so I tried taking a video too, and it like didn't go all the way. So I only got the tail end of it by just a wave. And I left and I was just stunned. I'm like, what the heck? But anyways, I guess I'm coming on here and saying this because for one, how sad that this is what our world is coming to. Like, we can't, do these things because of a political difference. And secondly, if you're Republican, I would definitely rethink your choices of going and seeing her.
This lady knew what she was doing. She knew. She knew the lady who does her eyelash extensions has an immigrant husband. She said the name of the technician and where she works, and then she put it on blast. That video has more than 55,000 likes, hundreds of thousands of views, and the comments are almost 100% MAGA. She got her feelings hurt. This is the classic white woman right to comfort. She is upset. She's distressed because she didn't get to fix her janky ass lashes. And so she basically doxed a woman with an immigrant husband to the entire MAGA internet and then told everybody, don't go there, y'all. Don't go there. ICE is literally killing people in the street, tear gassing babies, assaulting children, violating people's First, Fourth, and 14th Amendment rights. People are living in fear. The schools have had to go on remote learning because they are abducting mothers and children going to and from school. And this chudette thinks that it's legit law enforcement, and she supports what they're doing. And she expects her technician to have to do her eyelashes. She expects a woman who is facing terror on a daily basis in the United States to serve a woman who voted for and supports that terror.
This is the line, right here. This is the line. Think about what's actually being asked. The technician isn't just having a political difference of opinion with a client. She is genuinely, daily afraid. Her husband, her community, her safety. And the ask is, set all that aside. Pick up the tweezers, do the lashes, smile. And when she just couldn't do it that day, she got recorded, named, her workplace shared, and served to an already angry audience on a silver plate. That's not story time. That's a weapon dressed up in a cute thumbnail. And she knew exactly what she was loading.
This is the white woman's right to comfort, all of this. She thinks the biggest problem, the most extreme, insane, outrageous thing happening in the Minneapolis metro area right now is that someone wouldn't give her eyelash extensions because she voted for a dictator still in 2026 when her community is being destroyed by ICE chuddies, a lawless band of brutal, cruel men who have murdered a woman in the street. She thinks the biggest issue is that she didn't get served because she's MAGA. That you could be living in the Minneapolis metro area right now and still support Donald Trump, still support what is being done to your community. Yeah, you suck. You really, really suck. And I hope nobody does your eyelash extensions ever again. And double, triple, quadruple shame on you for knowingly, intentionally with your I'm just story time, just story time. But what you want is you're pissed. You're pissed and you are trying to sick a whole bunch of angry, agitated, out of control MAGA on a woman working in a salon who has an immigrant husband. You gave out enough information to endanger her in Trump's America in 2026. You did that on purpose. You knew what you were doing, girly. Don't play dumb. Don't play innocent with us. Shame on you.
Now, I just got back from a 7-mile run, so bear with me for a minute because I'm sweaty as hell. But I did a nice little live while I was on that run. And let me tell you something, I reported earlier today in a video that the MAGA were in full defensive mode. Holy crap, was that an understatement. Because I had MAGA flooding my live when I was talking about how embarrassing Donald Trump's military parade was and about how the MAGA are now trying to pretend that that guy who unalived that politician in Minnesota, they're trying to claim he was a Democrat when he's a registered Republican, voted for Trump, his friend said he was a conservative, he had a manifesto and a list of Democrats he wanted to unalive. Like, they're pretending this isn't happening. And I was talking about all of that stuff, and every MAGA troll that came into the comments just deflected with ad hominem stuff. I had people asking me what my favorite nail polish color was. I had people asking me if I dressed my son in a dress. I had people being like, who was your president when you woke up this morning? And I said, Donald Trump, and I'm willing to admit that's a national embarrassment. The world is laughing at us right now. Only the MAGA don't realize that they're the ones being laughed at. And they resorted to the same dumb comments they've always had. Democrats are burning down cities. They are incredibly butthurt today that Trump's military parade was such a failure and such an embarrassment. They're also trying to once again run away from the fact that one of their own again tried to attack and murder people. Because the MAGA have a long history of doing that. So they have to pretend that they are patriots and not actually traitors, and somehow pretend that this guy was actually a card-carrying communist and not a registered Republican who voted for Trump, which he did. So keep up the good work today, guys, and don't forget to constantly remind all the MAGA that you know that Donald Trump is a national embarrassment who can't even pull off an authoritarian military parade, and that their own cult is a violent fascist movement. And since Trump recently backed off on more of his tariffs, go ahead and throw in a few tacos for good measure. Have a good Sunday.
I'm a manager of a business, and today I had to hold one of my employees, as they were crying hysterically. And I was like, what is wrong? What is happening? What is going on, babes? Seriously, what's going on?
Because I needed you to see it.
She's from Nicaragua, and she's fucking scared.
This is it. This is the whole thing right here, not a talking point, not a debate clip. A human being in a break room, sobbing in his manager's arms because he followed every rule. And he's still not safe. He did everything right. Legal process, documentation, everything. And he's still one knock on the door away from losing everything. While across town, someone's upset about their eyelashes. I don't need to editorialize this. The contrast does all the work. Just sit with it for a second. Actually sit with it.
She's gone through it all the legal ways. She's already been threatened. She's already been threatened with being picked up. She's already being threatened by
tension, anticipation, and fear to such a point that you know eventually the hit is going to come.
Genuinely, she is a heart of gold. A heart of fucking gold. So fuck you if you voted to deport her.
So what did we actually watch today? A hat that started a hotel argument, a travel page that became a battleground, a salon appointment that turned into a doxing, and a man crying in a break room who did nothing wrong. The through line in every single clip, the absolute ironclad refusal to connect the vote. To the outcome, it's not ignorance at this point. Ignorance runs out. At some point, you've seen enough, heard enough, been told enough, and you just choose not to look. That's the thing that keeps me up at night. Not the loud ones, not the hat at breakfast guy, the quiet choosing, the daily deliberate decision to unsee what's right in front of you. Because somewhere in a break room right now, someone with a heart of gold is still scared, and that matters more than anyone's eyelashes. Drop a comment. Where does accountability actually start? When does the disconnect end? Like, share, subscribe. We'll be here. This is Mind Mirror.